Hello, everybody, and welcome to another installment of Palm Tree Sports. My name is Corey Pujols. I am your host, and as always, it is brought to you and powered by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Happy Saturday, everybody. I hope you're enjoying the weekend. I hope that things are going well for everybody, and thank you so much for joining me here on my show today. On this show today, we have a few things to talk about, especially since we have a couple of teams still in the playoffs right now. And then as far as the Rays are concerned, they're playing extremely well at the moment, even through injury. So we're going to get into all of that, guys. But as always, shall we start things off with the NFL and what's going on here in our three teams, which would be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Miami Dolphins, and the Jacksonville Jaguars. And we're going to start with Tampa Bay, guys. So Tampa Bay right now recently just signed 5 of their 8 draft picks, which is that's a wonderful thing. It's something that you got to do. You save money in cap space to do that before every season do all of the NFL teams do. And let's just say that at some point this was going to take place. So good job, Bucks, on signing these 5 players right here, who were all the latter of the draft pick, the last 5 picks actually by Tampa Bay. And that would be Servassier Dennis, Payne Durham, Josh Hayes, Trey Palmer, and Jose Ramirez. So good job, Tampa Bay, on getting those guys signed. Let's try and get the last 3 guys signed soon, and so that way, they don't have to worry about whether they're getting paid or not, or whether they're being taken care of or not. So, shout out to the Bucks for doing that. Good job, guys. Now, the only other bit of information that's really interesting coming out of Tampa Bay, aside from obviously what we've been talking about for the last few weeks, which would be the Devin White rumors as far as him wanting to be traded and where he wants to go, and then obviously the cap space issue with Tampa Bay. There was a meeting between former Buccaneers head coach Jon Gruden and the Saints, in which they enlisted his help with installing a new offense and getting their system into rhythm. That's a bit of a surprise, considering that obviously that is a rival to Tampa Bay, a division rival, and also, Jon Gruden won a Super Bowl here. He won Tampa Bay's first Super Bowl here, actually. And so it's weird to see Jon Gruden over there. To say the least, it's very, very weird to see Jon Gruden helping the Saints. But this is the NFL, and everything has a dollar amount next to it. And I'm sure there was something that came along with that for Jon. So for that, I say, I understand, dude. And also, that was his former quarterback, too. Derek Carr, that he was helping out there in New Orleans. So it's a very interesting situation, but hey, whatever. Thank you, Jon, for what you're able to do for us 1 years ago now. I think it was 21, 22 years ago now, and I just hope that all is well with you, and I hope you accomplished what you were trying to. Actually, I hope you didn't accomplish it, actually. I hope the Saints offense is terrible this year. But that's neither here or there. I'm just speaking on that situation, especially since it's an awkward situation. Now, let's go ahead and skirt on over to the Jaguars. Now, I'm going to say this every time I get the chance, obviously, because once the season starts, there will be a lot much more information that we're covering. But, off-season, full of question marks and things to consider for the future versus actual headlines right now. However, here's a good headline for you guys. For those who do not know, the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to be having their field renovated, and they have been exploring options for where they should play their games in a temporary facility that could house, the amount of people, somewhere between the 80 and 90,000 mark, that will be visiting and attending Jaguars games this year. So there was Ben Hill Griffin Stadium that was on the list, and it seems that the Jacksonville Jaguars, that is, has moved away from Ben Hill Griffin Stadium, and they've started working with the Daytona International Speedway. Okay? So for those who do not know, The state of Florida is home to the Daytona 500, which is one of NASCAR's most prestigious racing events throughout the year. I'm not a huge NASCAR fan personally. However, I do understand, and I know, and I've seen quite a few races before, so I know what's going on there. And this location is huge. All right, that speedway is humongous. Houses a bunch of people, especially for the Daytona 500, as the aforementioned. So I look forward to seeing how this progresses. The Jaguars reached out to the Daytona International Speedway, and they already have options in the works for how it will go. I'm not exactly sure if they're trying to get a game number, as far as like how many games are going to be played. Like, is it going to be 6 games? Is it going to be 10 games? What's the deal? So it's going to be interesting to see how that part takes off, whether they decide to split there and another location. Odds are they may actually just rock with, the Speedway, which was probably going to be the most feasible thing for them to do, as their new stadium is going to cost them upwards of $1 billion, and that area that they're trying to renovate. So we'll see exactly how that turns out. Of course, only time will tell, but it would be very interesting and pretty cool to see the Jaguars play at the Speedway. Needless to say, I would imagine that they would do great numbers there, and that I think this would be the first time that that's ever been done. I don't know if another football team actually ever played at a raceway, so. And also for those who are NASCAR fans who haven't watched the NFL yet, maybe they find something that they're interested in. So that's very, very interesting situation coming out of Duval, and I look forward to seeing, hopefully, that they come to agreement on terms and they are able to play at the Daytona International Speedway. That would be a phenomenal situation. So, also, Trevor Lawrence has been garnering a bit of attention from around the league, people in and outside, and it's all been positive. I haven't read anything negative on Trevor Lawrence, but the biggest things that I've been seeing that he possesses would be his poise and leadership. Okay, you have people inside the organization saying he's a tremendous leader. He knows how to divert attention, especially when it comes to making plays, when it comes to saying the right thing on the microphone, being an all-around team guy, and that's something you look forward to seeing, especially from your quarterback, your young quarterback, who is on the upside of his career, especially as he's ascending into greatness, which he has been doing each year that he gets underneath his belt. The growth part, that's just something that comes naturally. I think with the game, you have players who they enter the NFL and they instantly become better, and you have guys who stack experience on top of experience, and sometimes they blossom later in their careers. So Trevor Lawrence is doing a mix of both. He's obviously wasn't going to be the rookie sensation. He didn't have the pieces around him. However, he was still a great pick for the Jaguars, somebody that I look forward to seeing on Sundays, and somebody that I watched on Saturdays play his tail off. So the growth is definitely something that we saw coming from a mile away. I'm not surprised to see him listed as a top 10 quarterback heading into next year, and I can't wait to see what he does. Duval, you guys got yourselves a good one, and I support him, and I look forward to what this season has to offer, especially him, and especially with that division being pretty weak. I look forward also to seeing him dominate, hopefully, at the Speedway. Right? Imagine that. Imagine seeing Trevor Lawrence in Daytona International Speedway. That would be pretty freaking cool, guys. I'm just speaking from, from not from experience, but from the idea of experiencing such a thing. So, shout out to Duval. Shout out to Trevor Lawrence. And as we move on now into Miami, Miami is also in a very interesting place because they look to be the top landing spot for newly released Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook was released earlier this week by the Minnesota Vikings, something we saw coming and that they were talking about for quite a while now. And now this situation has materialized itself. The Dolphins and the Broncos look to be the two best teams. However, if we're talking about which team is better, it's clearly the Dolphins. And so with that being said, it would make all the sense in the world, especially for Dalvin Cook, to sign with the Dolphins. Reason being, for those who do not know, he went to Florida State. So he's well acquainted with the state of Florida already. Now imagine being able to go back there and find success, possibly even more success, from leaving a team in Minnesota, which seems to be somewhat on a bit of a decline, versus a team in the Dolphins who if their quarterback stays healthy, is a top 5 team in the NFL. So there you go, guys. I look forward to seeing whether he goes there or to Denver. I am sort of hoping for Miami, sort of hoping for not, because obviously if he does go to Miami, Miami just becomes that much more overpowered. If he goes to Denver, it's a little bit more balanced. However, it would just make all the sense for him to go to Miami. I think from a personal standpoint and then from a business standpoint as well, Miami would be the best option for him. Now, Tyreek Hill recently said in an interview that he is looking and eyeballing at 2,000 yards receiving. I don't think it's ever been done before it has been done before by a receiver. My apologies. I believe Megatron did it, if I'm not mistaken. 2,000 yards, he said, is realistic for him, and we will have to wait and see how that plays out because he's going to need Tua for that. Tyreek, yeah, he could get 2,000, sure. Absolutely, as fast as he is. He's almost unguardable, except for when he plays against Tampa. If you guys remember, that Super Bowl was absolutely a shutdown of Tyreek. He basically did nothing all game. So it's doable, just hard. And that leaves the door open for him to be able to get 2,000 yards receiving. So I think that he can do it. It also makes sense that he's eyeballing something like that, as he has already said before in past interviews as well, that he is looking to retire after his contract is up with the Dolphins. Makes perfect sense. He will have made enough money to ride off into the sunset. I think he's already on the way to having enough money to ride off into the sunset, but I can understand wanting to ride out your obligations, especially with your contract. And with Miami, I don't see why that would be a problem. So, just an interesting thing to keep in mind for those who follow the Dolphins, that, those are some things that he's working towards, and don't be surprised if he goes off this year. I mean, he went off last year. He goes off almost every year, but fact still remains, look for him to go off this year. He's eyeballing 2,000 yards receiving, could be a monumental thing. And, we'll just have to see if he can do it. Like I said, if Tua's there, he should be able to get there. But Tua's got to stay healthy, which means they have to protect him, which means they got to make good decisions. They got to make better decisions, right? So, that's what's going on here in the NFL as far as the world of football is concerned. Again, I'm always looking forward to the beginning of the season. We're less than 100 days away. We're approaching 80 days away actually now, guys. So be prepared for the season to be here sooner than later. I can't wait. I miss football. It's my favorite sport, guys. That's why we start with it every time. Like I said, just can't wait to see what happens next, especially with the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think this team I'm most excited about. Obviously, I love my Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but we know that we're in a rebuilding stage. We're just going to look to do the best that we can this year and hopefully pull out a run for the division crown and possibly eyeball the playoffs. Obviously, I know the NFL is not looking for Tampa Bay to do much. Meanwhile, Miami and Jacksonville are sitting damn near at the top of their divisions, respectfully speaking, with Miami having regards to the Buffalo Bills. And, so we'll see what happens. In any case, let's go ahead and get into our first break of the evening, guys. When we come back, we're going to go ahead and talk NBA, a little bit of NCAA action, NHL, MLB, UFC, what to expect for tonight and tomorrow coming up respectfully. And we'll keep it rolling, guys. So thank you for having locked here. Again, my name is Corey Pujols. I am your host of Palm Tree Sports, which is brought to you by eSports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. And, guys, we'll be back in 60 seconds.
It's IE Sports Radio. It is your direct feed for all that is sports. It is Philly Sports Talk with Cash and Chris every Tuesday night right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Philly Sports Talk with Cash and Chris is the most comprehensive view on Philadelphia sports exclusively right here on IE Sports Radio. You know what it is, your direct feed for all that is sports. Tuesday night, IE Sports Radio, Philly Sports Talk with Cash and Chris.
Yes, indeed, we are back with Palm Tree Sports. Again, my name is Corey Pujols, your host for Palm Tree Sports Radio, and it is brought to you and powered by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports, guys. Let's go ahead and get it cracking with a few extra sports, or different sports, I should say. Beginning with the NBA. Okay, so the Miami Heat are in the NBA Finals. It's just you never would have known it, right? And yes, unfortunately, guys, this is going to be the part where I have to talk crap about my favorite team in Florida as far as basketball is concerned, and one of my favorite teams overall in the NBA. The Miami Heat have been struggling against the Denver Nuggets. Of course, I kind of foresaw this. Did I believe that they could win? Of course, I have faith. However, let's be practical here, right? Let's look at the writing on the wall. Let's address the elephant in the room, and it's very simple. Okay? Nobody can guard Jokic. Nobody. The man is a wizard. Alright? He's an absolute mythological creature existing in the NBA right now, and nobody's paying any attention to it. And Jamal Murray is also a legend, some type of statue that comes to life during the NBA playoffs, and it's just absolutely ridiculous. Let's just call it like what it is. If you're a Denver fan, you're having the time of your life. The Nuggets are up 3-1 on Miami. For all intents and purposes, this series is over. I mentioned this before, that if the Heat fail to guard either Jokic or Murray, that the other would essentially destroy that team. Now you can add Aaron Gordon to the mix, dropping 42, alright, on Miami, and that's just a result of Jokic playing well. Look, if Jokic plays well, Aaron Gordon is going to play well, okay? If Jamal Murray plays well, whoever's big, which for them is Aaron Gordon, is going to play well, okay? Why? It's very simple, okay? Saw this exact same offense being played by Michael and Pippen. We saw the same offense with Kobe and Shaq. It was created by the man who coached both of those teams, won 11 titles between the two of them, Phil Jackson. And here, the Nuggets are showing that offense, that way of playing the game, excuse me guys, my apologies, is not dead. It's very well alive, and it's also essentially still running the NBA, guys. It's a little frustrating. I'm sure you guys can hear it in my voice. Why? Well, let me tell you like this. I watched the first 3 games. All right. I didn't bother to watch Game 4. I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I didn't bother to watch Game 4, and the reason why is simple. Game 3, I pretty much saw that this series was over. Miami, on their best night, can barely stay with the Nuggets. Yeah, they won Game 2, and it looked like they figured it out, moving Kevin Love into the lineup and, you know, going big, especially offensively, but they just can't outbig the Nuggets. I don't think anybody can outbig the Nuggets. And Games 3 and 4 are perfect examples of that, especially with Aaron Gordon going off as like he did. It's not typical for Aaron Gordon to go off, but Jokic was still there with, I think it was 37 points. Fortunately, there's not much Miami can do. The only way they're going to be able to pull this out of the fire is if the Nuggets just start playing terribly. There's really no way around it. If the Nuggets continue to play the way they've been playing, they will be champs Monday. They'll be NBA world champs. So, you know, hey guys, I have all the faith again in the world in my Miami Heat. I love the Miami Heat, but I can also, you know, see a mismatch. I also know a mismatch when I see one. And unfortunately, there's just nothing on the roster for Miami to be able to contend with the height and just overall ability of the Nuggets. That's just what it comes down to. I'm sorry if I sound a little bit distraught while talking about this, but this is Butler's second NBA Finals in the last 4 years, and it looks like the same issue that he had before is the same issue he has now. Him by himself is not going to be good enough. Butler put up 45. Alright? But Butler by himself is not going to be enough. Bam, I think, had 43, but Bam is the only true big that in his prime that Miami has. Kevin Love is an old man now, as we know, and just there's nothing else Miami has that can really hang with the Nuggets. So Nuggets, Jokic, Murray, Aaron Gordon, Caldwell Pope, all those guys, they're playing very well. There's not going to be much Miami can do. Good luck to Miami. Monday night, if you're looking to watch that game, Game 5 of the NBA Finals will be in Denver. That's going to be Monday, June 12th, 8:30 p.m. I think, like I said, the Nuggets are probably going to walk away with their title here, and there'll be more questions left for Miami in the offseason about how to handle this, how to fix this. If not, we could be looking at maybe, Miami forcing a Game 6. There's always a possibility. Eric Spoelstra's a great head coach. Miami's a great a great organization from the basketball perspective, so I wouldn't be surprised if they're able to win this game, but I also wouldn't be surprised if this game gets wrapped up in 5. So, good luck, Miami. We'll see what happens there. Let's move over to a little bit more saddening news, but there's a bit of good news that goes with this coming out of the University of Florida. One is that Florida was able to win its second straight NCAA men's track and field title. Congratulations, University of Florida. For those who do not know, the University of Florida is notorious for doing well in track and field. So that is a little bit more common of a sight than not common. If I said that correctly or am saying that correctly, I want that to be understood. University of Florida does tremendously well in track and field and also in gymnastics, for those who do not know. So congratulations to the men's track and field team. We are very proud of you, as always. We look forward to seeing if we're able to send some guys over to the Olympics, especially since that'll be popping up again next year. So, looking forward to that. The bad news coming out of the University of Florida is 4-star recruit and running back commit to University of Florida has flipped to Georgia. Guys, that's about as bad as it gets. Alright? 4-star recruit doesn't want to go to Florida no more, wants to go to Georgia, as if Georgia needs more help. I mean, alright, dude. Hey, look, good luck to you. Don't be surprised if the bench is your friend. And I hope we're able to smother you, dude. Because, at the end of the day, I understand you gotta do what's best for you. But as a Gator, it's gonna be hard for me to say, hey, I don't hope to see you succeed. I mean, I hope you succeed, sure. Just not against Florida. You see? I hope that makes sense. I look forward to Florida hopefully being the brakes off of Georgia within the next coming years. I mean, it's not going to happen this year, but maybe next year. So we'll see what happens there, guys. But, go Gators as always. But that's the information I got coming out of college sports for you guys for the most part. As far as Florida, FSU, and all those guys are concerned, again, as we get closer to the start of the season, we're going to know more of the depth chart and who's going to be starting, who's going to be, in the backfield, playing on the bench, and, or riding the bench, I should say, to be more accurate with my words. So let's move on over to the MLB, though. That's where the real action is at right now, especially coming out of Tampa Bay. This is the best team in Tampa Bay right now, hands down. It's not even close to the best team in baseball. The Rays are absolutely on fire right now. They just swept the Minnesota Twins in that 3-game series. They looked phenomenal doing it, and that's even fighting through the injuries, the rotation of injuries. I believe Brandon Lau was the most recent person to go on the injured list. That's not a good thing, of course. Brandon Lau is absolutely one of our best players on this team. The guy's absolutely stacked as far as his skill set is concerned, so we're hoping for a quick and subtle recovery from him as soon as possible. Hopefully it's not going to be that long, as we are in the middle of a 3-game series against the Rangers. Now, this will be the first time I ask the chat to do anything. If anybody sees the recent score to that game, please put it in the chat. I don't have access to that game with my current provider, unfortunately, but the last time I did see, as I was checking the game on ESPN app, the score was 6-4 Rangers at the top, headed to the bottom of the 6th. So if anybody can put that into the chat, I would greatly appreciate it. However, talking about these two teams individually, these are two of the best teams in the MLB at the moment. The Rays sitting with the best record in all of baseball at 47-19. The Rangers sitting with a not so far record away at 40-22. All right, so like I said, two of the best teams duking it out. Excuse me. Game 1 was taken by the Rays 8-3. They look good doing it. And the next game is going to be played tomorrow at 1:40 p.m. So if you're looking for something to watch around lunchtime, tomorrow afternoon or after church, that would be the game to check out. Again, we are playing the Rangers 3-game series, so the final game will be played tomorrow, like I said, 1:40 p.m. Check that game out if you're looking for a game between two of the best teams in the MLB at the moment. The following series is going to be against the Oakland A's or Athletics. For those who are wondering, what's next for the Rays, that game is going to be a 4-game series, and we're looking forward to the Rays cracking that 50-win mark when that series hits. So, first team to 50 is going to be the Rays, guys. I'm putting that out there now. As you know, again, like I said, guys, this is the best team right now in Tampa Bay. This team is absolutely on fire. Best team in MLB, and the best roster in the MLB also, may I add, pitching and dugout-wise. So, I've been enjoying when I can watch our team play. Unfortunately, like I said, with my current provider, I actually have to go find the game elsewhere and stream it, or just listen to it, which I don't mind listening to it too. That's always gonna work. I'm one of those people where I don't know how other people are, but I really enjoy listening to the games. The games are always fun, no matter where we're at. So, okay, so here we go. Here's the score, guys. So we got the Rangers are actually winning 8-4. This is the bottom of the end of the 7th, so we're going into the 8th. The Rays are running out of time to try and bring this game home, so we'll have to wait and see what happens. But that's where we're at. Go Rays. Let's see if we can, bring this one out. If not, it's okay. We're on a five-game win streak, I think it is, right? 7-game win streak. So it's at some point you got to drop a game. Can't just win, like we did earlier in the season, win 20 in a row. And you can't just do that when you want to. So I fully suspect if we lose this game, we'll bounce back. Like I said, got to have a break somewhere in between there, and that's what I call a lost break. And so that's where we're at with the Rays. Like I said, the next series is going to be against the Oakland A's, and I look forward to that game series starting on Tuesday, I think it is, if I'm not mistaken. Guys, I will get back to you with that next week as we get closer to that series. And with that being said, we're on our way towards the NHL, which currently is in its Stanley Cup mode between Vegas and Florida. Okay, so Vegas started out super strong against Florida, guys. It was looking kind of scary for the Panthers, who fell behind 2 games, and I am very saddened at the loss of the first 2 games. However, at the 3rd game, the Panthers were able to bring home a win, a 3-2 win. All right, so it was a one puck score game. So good job, Panthers, for bringing that one home as we head into Game 4, which is going to take place tonight. So here's hoping that the Panthers can even up this series at 2 games apiece. Now, I'm not going to say it's going to be easy, because it's not going to be easy. It's going to require a lot of poise and defense to be played properly by the Panthers. Vegas is a bit of a dirty team. They've been, working the physical side of the game more than they really should. They've been milking it, if you will. And at some point, things were going to have to come to a head for Florida, which it seems like they've been able to gather their emotions and realize that this game is not going to be an easy series, that it's most likely going to be something more along the lines of what America had to go through in World War II. In the Pacific Theater, which is struggle across island. So treat each island like it's a game, and you can kind of see where the Panthers are going to have to dig down to pull this series out. Like I said, poise and defense. They're going to have to control their emotions, get their looks back when they can, but focus on scoring and playing overall better team hockey, as they've proven that they can be the better team when they're not emotionally charged. So, with that being said, that's going to be the move for the Panthers. Of course, we're rooting for you guys. Keep on doing what you're doing in Tampa Bay. You have our full support. And we just hope that you guys are able to bring it home and keep the Stanley Cup here in Florida, yes? So go Panthers. Game 4 tonight, 8 p.m. if you're looking for something to watch outside of the martial arts evening that we have in store, which is going to be what we're talking about next, guys. It's UFC 289. Main card starts at 10 p.m. I believe the prelims start at 7. 6:30, that is. And with that being said, the main event and co-main event are both two great events that are going to take place. Unfortunately, because, and I mentioned this before last week, because of Juliana Peña's injury, it's not going to be her fighting for the title. It's going to be Aldana. However, because of that, Aldana being I believe, submission specialist, if I'm not mistaken, she has a decided disadvantage on the feet against a natural Brazilian in Nunes, who also has some jiu-jitsu in her bag. Now, her jiu-jitsu has been the weaker point of her game, and we've noticed that. However, it's far-fetched from the lioness/female goat to not work hard at something and not get something down packed. I would not be surprised to come out here and see Nunes win this fight by second or third round TKO, guys. Look for that. I just believe that the pace that she's going to set on the feet is going to be unbelievably hard for Aldana to cope with. And even though Aldana does have a tremendous ground game, I suspect that Nunes has seen that coming. For the last couple of weeks that she's been, searching her new opponent up since Peña got injured. And for the record, guys, Juliana Peña actually has a pretty solid ground game as well. And we saw Nunes was able to nullify that in their last fight. So, guys, just pay attention to that for the main event for 289 tonight. Also, for the co-main event, Oliveira versus Dariush. I got Oliveira by second round submission, and the reason is very simple. Dariush, yes, he's a tremendous striker. He has heavy hands, but guess who else has heavy hands? Dustin Poirier, Justin Gaethje, okay? Pretty much everybody else in the lightweight division that Charles Oliveira has fighting. Michael, what's his name? The explosive guy who's about to fight Conor McGregor. Both of these,
Chandler.
There you go, Michael Chandler. All three of those guys have some of the best boxing in the lightweight division. I'm telling you guys right now, Charles Oliveira's boxing has gotten so much better as he was able to beat Justin Gaethje via knockout. He was able to put away Michael Chandler after rocking him with absolutely, destructive punch. I think it was a left cross, if I remember correctly, and just put Michael Chandler on the ground, and he finished him with a rear naked choke. And you also have Dustin Poirier, who is probably the biggest dog besides Max Holloway in the entire UFC, and he was able to essentially put him away as well. So I am looking for Oliveira to do something very similar to that, keep his guard up high, and hopefully if he can stay away from a knockout, we'll be seeing him victory form, second round submission wise, and I look forward to it. For those who do not know, Charles Oliveira is one of my favorite fighters of all time in the UFC and over mixed martial arts in general. So I'm looking forward to this co-main event, main event tonight, guys. If you have nothing else to look at, that would be my second to third option for you guys. It's going to be my first option, but like I said, prelims start 6:30, which is essentially right now. You can find it on ESPN. And then, obviously, the main card is going to be pay-per-view. And like I said, guys, great card ahead of us. And then we also have, I think, for the next double-digit weeks, we're going to have a UFC card. So, guys, now's the best time for, if you haven't, gotten into mixed martial arts, this would be a great time for you to dive into it, really get a look of what the world of mixed martial arts has to offer, along with the other sports right now, especially since we also have the USFL going on right now. And with all of these sports also wrapping up their playoff series, which is going to be the NHL and also the NBA, which are both in their final series. MLB's halfway through the season. Like I said, Rays on top of everything. They look great. So down here, we're just, we're taking it week by week, weekend by weekend. We're enjoying our time here. And then also for those, this is a little bit off of what I normally talk about, but for those of you who watch pro wrestling, which again, that's a sport, it's sports entertainment, but it's a sport. I watch pro wrestling. If you're interested in seeing a show, it turns out that Tampa Bay will be hosting AEW coming up within, I think, a month or so. And that will be the first time that AEW comes to Tampa Bay. I've actually been to a WWE event here in Tampa Bay, Monday Night Raw. It was absolutely breathtaking. Mom got us surprise tickets, and when I tell you I lost my voice in one of the greatest nights of my life, I'm telling you I lost my voice as one of the greatest nights of my life. So if you're in Tampa, you're looking for something to check out live, AEW is coming soon. Next week, hopefully I'll get the date and time for that, just in case anybody's looking forward to it. And then, like I said, other than that, look for a whole bunch of sports coming your way between tonight and tomorrow afternoon. Guys, it's been a pleasure to talk to you for this, what's shorter than normal for me, guys. Well, I'm hanging around the 45 minute mark, and here we are at around 36. approaching 40. So guys, thank you so much for having it locked here for just over the half hour. Come find me again next week, same time, same place here on IE Sports Radio. My name again is Corey Pujols. I am your host for Palm Tree Sports Radio, and I look forward to talking to you guys again. For food for thought, guys, just remember what I say every week. Spend time with your family. Enjoy the weekends. Take time. Get some rest. Drink your water. Just take care of yourself, guys. And whatever facet that's taking. The world that we live in is a very scary place, and it's only getting scarier. I have a lot of love in my heart for what I do here, which means I got to have a lot of love for you guys, and I enjoy this. I really, really do. And, I just look forward to better days for all of us, especially down here in the South. Things are questionable. But we're going to make it work. We're going to be right back here, same time, same place next week. Again, like I said, look forward to all the things that we'll have to talk about, as we get closer and closer to the kickoff of the NFL season and the NCAA. All right, guys. So, again, thank you so much for listening, keeping it locked here. I'll see you same place, same time next week. Have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy the rest of the weekend, guys. Peace.